This is A Better Way Financial, the podcast with financial advisors and father-son team Frank and Frankie Guida.
And I'm Heather Branch here with Frank and Frankie to learn more about the things you can be working on now to better prepare for your financial future. ABetterWayFinancial.com is where you can start your own conversation with the entire team. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there or, again, visit us at ABetterWayFinancial.com. All right, guys. So I want to ask you about the idea of our 401ks and Social Security. I mean, with Social Security, it's something that should be simple. An American right is our access to Social Security, and yet it continues to get more and more complicated. So I want to ask you guys about crunching the numbers on it, because a lot of people think that they have an idea about Social Security. And one of the biggest things is that, I mean, it's known, the longer you wait to claim your Social Security benefits, the bigger your benefits check will be. So the question is when to take it, because somebody might come to you and they plan to retire at 65, but they say they want to wait until 70 before taking their benefits to get that bigger check. So the question is, how do we fill the gap? This article from MoneyWise.com suggests that you use your 401k as a quote-unquote Social Security bridge. The argument is that your 401k will run out. Social Security does not.
In theory.
What are your right? That's exactly what I want to say. Like, it's a little risky right now. The things around Social Security seem to be wonky if you've been reading the news. So what do you guys think of this strategy, or is there a better approach?
Well, you said people come in and they say, well, I'm going to retire at 65 and take my Social Security at 70. That's usually not what they say when they come
Usually
in.
they say, well, I'm retiring at 65. I'm going to need some income. So let's start with that Social Security. That's a good way to get some income.
Yeah, and sometimes that's a good strategy, and sometimes it's not. There's nothing cookie cutter about Social Security. It's not easy to figure out when you should start.
Is there something like 600 ways you can file for Social Security? Something completely absurd. Like, I mean, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and you have to take so many things into consideration. You have to take into consideration your age, your spouse's age, what type of income you had, what your Social Security, are your Social Security benefits going to be considerably higher than your spouse's? All of these different things mean a lot. I mean, it's easy to sit there and say, hey, if you take it at 70, your benefit's going to be so much higher, But you really have to crunch the numbers, and you really have to understand a lot of different things. And most folks don't get it. I mean, how many times in your lifetime do you figure out something like this? It just doesn't exist.
Well, for most of us, Social Security, we figured out the one time.
Yeah. And when you went to school, did anybody teach you how to do this?
No.
They
didn't. Very frustrating.
So look, a lot of times delaying taking Social Security will increase your income from Social Security.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at it like you have two pockets, right? Okay. You have your Social Security pocket, and then you have your portfolio pocket. Do you have enough in your portfolio to supplement your income during those years that you don't take Social Security, so that you can delay taking Social Security and let that pocket grow and then pay a higher amount so that you'll be taking less from the portfolio later?
Right.
And it comes down to that, and it comes down to understanding the rules of Social Security, especially understanding the differences between spouses.
Yeah, and, just playing a little bit of devil's advocate on that, if you decide to wait on the Social Security, well, that's years that you're not getting paid that Social Security.
Right.
Yes, you're going to get a higher paycheck later on, but you're not getting any paycheck from Social Security until you turn it on later. So you are going to need to figure out how to get that income coming in. And like Dad's saying, you could take it from your investment pocket. But there is a break even on how long it takes for you to break even as far as waiting and compared to turning it on sooner.
Right. We got to do the math and kind of weigh out the pros and cons of the different options.
Absolutely. And really, the way to pick Social Security, you need to know the exact day that you're going to pass away. Which is such an easy way to figure it out, right?
Let's just break out our crystal ball that is always accurate about everything.
Yeah, Heather, we know exactly what that day is going to be, right?
If only.
So it's something that you have to base off of something you don't have any idea about.
Yeah.
So there's no perfect science to say, okay, well, this is going to be the best date because I know I'm going to pass away at 87.
Right.
But you can plan. You can say, well, if I do live to 87, am I going to be better off turning it on at 70, or am I going to be better off turning it on at 67? Am I going to turn it off at 62, 65? What are the different options? and what makes the most sense for the age that I'm planning for.
Yeah, so let's give an example here.
Okay.
We had a couple that came in from Allentown. They were both 61 years old. He was working for Baird, and she was retired. 3 kids, 4 grandchildren. They wanted to spend more time with their family.
Sure.
They had a $1.3 million portfolio. They had a little pension. They had about a $13,000 a year pension.
Okay.
Their plan when they came in was to both take Social Security at the age of 63. When he retired.
Okay.
But when we looked at it, we said, if he takes Social Security at the age of 69, that means his benefit's going to be $51,000 a year from Social Security.
Okay.
If she started her benefit at 67, she would then get $14,000 a year from her benefit. But then when he started taking his benefit at 69, she turned 69, he's 69.
Yeah.
She can then switch to the spousal Social Security benefit, which would bring her up over $22,000 a year in the Social Security benefit.
Wow. Okay.
Doing this meant an extra $659,000 that they were going to receive from Social Security.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah, and that's if they live a long, healthy life. We're expecting roughly about $659,000. If they don't live as long, it's going to be a little bit of a lower number, but it's still net positive for them. They're in a much better situation.
Got it.
The break even in their case was age 82. So if they live past 82, each year that they're living past, they're getting more and more money from that Social Security than they otherwise would have been if they turned it on at age 63.
Okay.
So this is the type of planning that we do. It's a challenging thing to figure out, when should I turn on Social Security? Another thing that goes into it is, what is your investment portfolio? Do you have the funds to supplement that income while you're waiting on that Social Security? We determine, does that make sense? Does it make sense to wait, or does it make sense to turn on sooner? And if you are in the process of figuring out, should I turn on my Social Security now? Should I turn on my Social Security later? What options do I have? We'll be able to show you when is the best time for you specifically to turn on your Social Security. We'll have that conversation. What should we plan to? Should we plan until 90, 95, 85? And what makes the most sense for you from Social Security's perspective? And as Dad's talking about, this could mean the difference of, in this case, over $500,000 money in your pocket. You already paid for Social Security. You might as well get the most out of it that you can. So if this is something that you're looking for more assistance on, we can start this conversation with you. Just go to abetterwayfinancial.com. Now, when we met with these folks, we looked into their Social Security, but then we looked at the rest of their plan. We looked into their income plan. We looked into their risk tolerance. And they were currently in a moderate risk position, but they were looking to lower some of that risk as they're now getting into retirement.
Right.
So we lowered some of that risk. Their max drawdown, they could lose up to 30%. And they said that was way too much for them to lose. So we reduced that down to 16%, essentially cutting that risk almost in half there, while getting an even better rate of return. So over the past 24 years, they would have averaged about 5%. We're getting that up past 7%. So significantly better on the rate of return, lowering some of that risk, and lowering the amount that they were paying in fees.
And when we looked at their investments and what they were paying for it, we showed them that they could save $4,200 a year just in fees within the portfolio.
Wow.
Which is, what can you do with $4,200 a year?
Sounds
that's
like
an
vacation
extra
to me.
vacation.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what we did. We looked into their tax situation, showed them how to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes as well by doing that type of planning. All of this being put together, their portfolio only had a 51% probability of success that they're going to be able to retire successfully. I don't want to leave my retirement up to a coin flip. Heather, I would assume you probably feel the same way, too.
Yep. I think everybody would agree with that.
Don't want to run out of money.
Yes, sir.
We were able to show them that they could live on the same $100,000 of income that they're living on right now with a 97% probability of success. A very strong likelihood that they're going to be able to not run out of money. They're going to be able to enjoy the retirement and not have to worry financially about, am I going to be able to retire? Am I going to be able to have the income that I need? Or am I going to risk running out of money? So this is exactly what we do. We provide clarity on if you're going to be able to retire, if you're in a good enough financial position to be able to do what you want to do during your retirement years. We'll tell you what's working well, what's not working well. So if you're looking to retire and you don't know, are you going to be able to have the income that you need over the course of your retirement? Are you doing everything the best that you can tax-wise? Are you turning on your Social Security at the right time? These are the things that we evaluate here at A Better Way Financial. What is the probability of success throughout the course of your retirement? So if you don't know if your retirement's going to be successful and you want to learn, is this going to work for me? Go to abetterwayfinancial.com and click on the sign up now button so we can have this conversation with you and show you where you are at and where you can be.
We also have links posted in the show notes, so if it's easier, you can just click there, or again, find us anytime at abetterwayfinancial.com.
Thanks for listening to A Better Way Financial, the podcast with Frank and Frankie Guida. To learn more, visit abetterwayfinancial.com and join the Guidas for the radio show, A Better Way Financial, Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 12:30 on News Radio 790 WAEB. By contacting us, we'll review aspects of your retirement portfolio to include suggestions about how best to utilize estate, tax, and retirement planning strategies and other financial services, or if changing management styles is appropriate for your specific needs and objectives. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendations to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. A Better Way Financial is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any client experiences discussed during this show are unique to that client, and they are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. Advisory services offered through A Better Way Financial. Insurance offered through licensed professionals at A Better Way Financial. Pennsylvania Insurance License number 301779.